us off, babe.
All right, here we go. Episode 6 from building. Oh shit! Hold on.
You can't swear on the channel.
This is our channel. Okay, hold on.
Bloopers out the wazoo.
All right, here we go. Episode 6, building a biblical marriage from secular to sacred in modern times. You literally picked the word, like it's so long.
No, it's not.
Episode 6, building a biblical marriage. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna All right, here we go. Episode 6, building a biblical marriage from secular to sacred, part 2. Welcome back, our friends, Colin and Taylor Lane.
Hi.
As we continue to discuss more about moving from a secular marriage into a biblical one.
All right, for those of you guys who weren't here last week, these are our friends Taylor and Colin. Why don't you do a little introduction and tell our audience who you guys are?
All right. Well, I'm Colin. This is Taylor. We've got 3 kids, 3 years old, 2 years old, 1 year old. She's a stay-at-home mom. I'm a traveling salesman. So our life's pretty chaotic with 3 kids, 14-ish months apart, roughly. Sole income, so pedal to the metal every day. And all of our life actions and situations, there's nonstop. There's not a break of peace, is there?
No.
Right.
I was trying to think if there was.
She fell asleep during that.
Well, we're glad to have you guys back on the show, and we're going to continue the discussion we had last week about building a biblical marriage. So we're going to start off with talking about building that biblical marriage in today's society and some practical tools and mindsets. We'll start off with centering on Christ. So what can we do in our day-to-day functions that really align us with that goal?
Well, I think we're doing it daily with our prayers that we talk about, praying with our spouses together, praying over our spouses, and getting into the Word every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. Scripture every day need to be in it, because that really it's the Word of God, and it really gives us the strength to know Him better and to hear His words. And then if you even just have 5 minutes, that's really all you need. Right. Anytime you can get into the Word is going to benefit you. You never know. And especially if you pray beforehand for Him to show you what you need to see. And then your eyes, your ears are open to His Word. And it'll really start to take root. Things will jump off the page at you. And it's amazing to see that. And
then not just centering Christ alone and with your spouse, but within the community and at church. I mean, that's been huge for us.
Right. Worshiping at church. It's not just about the sermon that you hear, but it's also that worship time to really enjoy and to sing praise to God. It's a very important part in that. And listening to worship music, every day I listen to music, and I've recently started to listen to Christian music, which is Christian rock music. I used to listen to it back in high school all the time, and for the last, I don't even know, 18 years or so, I've not been listening to that type of music, so I've been getting into it now, and I really like it, and it's great, and it's not, secular, so it's not giving me the wrong kind of content, and it's really helping me stay focused, and it's got a good message, and it's got a good beat, so
I'm a weird guy on the golf course who's playing a bunch of Christian music, so
we'll have it playing here in the living room or in our cars. It's rare that we'll play secular music these days. Sometimes we'll throw on some 90s country, but that's usually it. And it's really all of our kids know. It's cool to just hear them pipe up from the backseat singing, not even kids songs, but just mainstream worship songs. And I think even just on the background of the TV when you're cleaning or whatever, those words are still washing over you.
And I can get kind of tired with the same old songs, so I like to listen to different types of music, and it's really nice to know that, with the Christian music genre is not just like hymnal songs.
Right.
It's not just
Right.
popular
Long
music.
way.
There
Yeah.
is, there's rap music, there's hard rock,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of different music.
I mean, this
So
is
it's-
screamo kind of rap.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I like to listen to it.
Everyone.
I'll be jamming at my desk like that. It's awesome. Jesus.
I feel like that brings me to a movie, so that's funny.
It's the vibe.
Hey Vibers, are you struggling to connect? We can help. Discover simple, powerful ways to improve your relationship communication. Our free checklist is waiting for you at the link in the description.
So I know that we've personally seen the transformation that can happen in a really short time, but you have to be willing to surrender. So we joined our church about exactly a year ago, because it was actually June. Summer is when we connected, and God's moved within our marriage, and because we were really hungry for the Lord. Like we felt that something was missing. Like I knew we were being gravitated to church, and we did a lot of dating around.
Yeah.
And then once we got plugged into the Cross Church, we're like, okay, this is home. This is where He's calling us to be. And like in that short time span, like we've had to be brutally honest with each other and share a lot of naked truths and like just things that should have been shared early on in our relationship. But for whatever reason, we weren't ready. We weren't there.
Yeah.
And that's just been overall growth for us in our marriage and just our overall communication. With all the open and hard conversations that we've had, we've been relieved, and there's this peace now within our marriage that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
Don't you agree? Centering Christ has given us a true foundation to stand on. This is our testimony, and I know we've only scratched the surface. Like, there's so much more coming. I can feel it.
So let's talk a little bit about communication and conflict resolution, God's way. And it starts with active listening and seeking to understand, not just respond, and speaking truth and love, which, again, I'm going to open up my Bible here to Ephesians and talk about Ephesians 4:15.
God, that's a good book.
It
is your favorite?
great.
Ephesians or the Bible?
Ephesians.
It's in the Bible. It's a good book if you read it.
It's more like a bunch of books. That's
the
what
book
the
of the Bible. Yeah. So 4:15 says, instead, speaking the truth in love, we will grow to become, in every respect, the mature body of Him who is the head, that is Christ. And to go along with that is also forgiveness daily and readily. And this verse comes from Colossians 3:13 and 14. And luckily I've got these books, because otherwise it'd take me a while.
I didn't read it for you, friend.
Bear with each other and forgive one another if any of you has a grievance against someone. Forgive as the Lord forgave you. Over all of these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. And lastly, I want to talk about humility, admitting wrongs and seeking reconciliation. So I think in our relationship, we have definitely moved towards active listening in conversations. I listen and I respond.
Yeah.
That's the best way of an example of active listening is when you're telling me something, I'm listening for cues, I'm giving you cues back.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just need to talk. Sometimes you don't have to have a response back from me. You just need to hear me acknowledge you.
Yeah.
It's really important, and that goes for you too. Like I know it's hard for me to accept advice sometimes. Sometimes I just need you to listen to me. So
We've gotten better about that. Like I'm learning to bite my tongue, and you don't always need me to come in and save the day and give you my advice. And so yes, I'm working on putting on my listening ears for you.
yeah, and in this last year for me, a big part of it's been forgiveness, because it's been really, there's been some ugly truths that have come up and some difficult things that we've talked about. And for me, learning forgiveness in this past year has been a big thing that I've had to focus on and work on. And
Yeah, and I appreciate that because forgiveness is huge. And I think because we've been through all of the hard truths and the really low lows,
yeah,
we've come back stronger than ever, and our relationship could not be better.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, and communicating through that is what got you there. And we even talked in group this week about communication is, I think, one of the most vital keys to a successful marriage, but it's also probably, at least for us, the hardest thing to master. Like, we're still in the trenches.
Well, I mean, we're the youngest married couple there, so
Yeah. Well, youngest
have-
in years, not.
right. But
I'm the youngest.
Let's just clarify that.
I'm sorry, please continue.
is much older.
yeah, well, we just went there.
No, I mean, but you
that's
make
cool.
a good point.
Cool.
We're still, and that's why
Yeah,
we even
but most of
said-
the couples in our group, you know, you guys, a few others, have been 7+ years easily.
Yeah.
So they've had time to develop and grow and learn each other.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we're still in the new of this. I mean,
Right.
4 years is not that far into a marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There are still things that we need to learn
yeah.
absolutely.
just by doing. I mean, it's not something that's going to come overnight. So, yes, communication is difficult. However, from the first year to now,
Oh,
night and day. Night and day.
100%. And that's why we clarify so frequently. We did it on here, but even in our group, like, we do not sit in the seats we do in group as,
Leaders.
I mean, as leaders, but as
We know it all.
examples,
We
I
don't.
guess. Like, we're not there as subject matter experts. We're there to facilitate.
If anything, we're what not to do.
Right. And we throw ourselves
Right?
under the bus and throw our dirty laundry. We air it out on the
Scratch that for a second. You throw me under the bus. You throw me under the bus.
Somebody has to do it.
No, I think that's a valid point. You don't have to be perfect
Right.
in order to be an example or in order to lead other people. I think even at the point of this channel, we're not perfect in marriage. We've got things that we need to work on, things we are working on, but there are a lot of things that we do right, and we have a lot of knowledge that can help people. And
I think that's where humility even comes in,
Yeah.
of being willing to share the ugly side to help guide people out of their ugly side.
Taking your selfishness out of the situation instead of, like I said last episode, meanness and weeness. You know, like it's not a me-ness anymore. It's a we-ness.
Right.
And you have to die multiple times in this marriage,
Die to
physically, die in yourself so that you can become a collective unit. Because without that and getting rid of your selfishness, it's not going to work.
Well, and that's where it comes back to love as a choice.
Right.
It's
Right.
not a feeling, it's a choice, and you have to choose
Well, I think it's
to die to self and choose to be a team.
we can
28. In the same way, husbands should love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wives loves himself. For no one has ever hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, just as Christ does the church.
Right. And that kind of leads into the next point of going back to the roles of a man and wife in the relationship and the husband as the leader. It's really about sacrificial leadership, cherishing and protecting. And you're talking about giving yourself to that other person, but leading and sacrificing yourself at the same time. So it almost seems like a conflict or counterintuitive to the point of, okay, how am I supposed to be the leader, but I'm also sacrificing myself at the same time?
Lead by example.
But it's not like what we think as men. We're not falling on our sword every
Right.
day. Like, oh, yeah, we did this, so we're just going to...
We're just gonna go with it. Oh yeah, I'm dying to myself because I never get to do anything on my own.
Right. It's not
That's
that
not
anymore.
what it means. Yeah,
Someone else's needs above yours.
right.
Every day.
Every day.
And realizing that by doing that, it's going to fill your cup more than what you think your own needs.
Right, and that's the mindset that we get to wake up with every day as men. Said, is what can we do to sacrifice our needs for our spouse's needs?
And then as the wife, you get into that submission as we were talking about last week.
Being that helper and
Yeah. That submission comes in the form of being the supporter, the helper,
build you up. I mean,
Right. And building the relationship up and building each other up and pointing out where things may need to be fixed but being that strong partner to be able to have those conversations.
where you might be lacking, I'm there to pick you up, or where I'm lacking, you're there to pick me up. So it's a constant balance. Yeah.
It takes two to have a marriage, and it takes work from both parties.
Yeah.
So let's address some misconceptions about clarifying the biblical roles, or about service and love, not about, like we were just saying, not about superiority, not about suppression. I'm not superior to you because I'm the leader. You're not suppressed because you're
Right.
We are a team. We're equal partners in this relationship. The roles, the
Godly roles.
godly roles, yeah. I'm not better than you because I'm the man.
Right.
You're not less than me because you're a woman.
Yeah, mutual respect and
Right.
different roles, though.
Yeah.
The wife is the foundation that the husband builds the family on. And our pastor said just a couple weeks ago something to the effect of the wife is the neck that helps pivot the head where it should go. And he says it
comes
as
from a movie.
It is a movie.
yeah. Well, he says, well, I don't watch movies, but
Is it Greek?
My Big Fat Greek Wedding, is that what it's from?
Yeah.
I mean, but it's a good point, and I think it's said as a funny, but it's true.
Yeah.
Assuming like my neck doesn't do a disservice to my head, it doesn't turn my head somewhere I don't want it to go, but it helps.
Imagine everybody walking around with no necks right now. So.
It helps.
Well, I'm kind of that way. I don't have much for that. So.
And it helps support the weight. It helps support the direction.
Yeah.
I mean, think about when you're stressed, the tense and tightness that you feel in your shoulders and your neck. Like the brain is doing the work, but the neck is the support. And so I think that
Yeah.
that's how it is.
They're both equally important in their roles. Absolutely. And it's important to remember that. You shouldn't suppress your wife just because she is the supporter, the helper.
Right.
She is equally important in a relationship.
So let's talk about finding community and accountability. Finding godly mentors, couples who embody the biblical marriage. I think that having that foundation, those examples, and whether it's perfect or it's not perfect, like you guys mentioned, you may not be doing everything correctly, but we're learning together in the word what it should be.
Yeah.
And we help keep each other accountable.
Yeah, I think it's important that leaders not be perfect.
Yeah.
Because who would want to
Yeah.
be in a small group with somebody that's perfect?
Nobody.
Because you're never going to
Yeah.
live up.
There's, there's something to strive
Yeah.
for. Perfection. Okay.
Yeah, totally. I could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we want to strive towards perfection in a relationship, but to have some leader that's, oh yeah, we're perfect.
Yeah, life's good. Life's good.
We don't have that issue.
There's an appreciation for you guys being really authentic and
Yeah, we're authentically not sorry.
no, I mean it. Like you're authentic in who you guys are, and you don't try to keep things from. You don't shelter us. Like the fact that you guys are so vulnerable with us every week
It allows us to be.
does. It opens that safe space for us, and I don't think we would be able.
See, I told you had a safe space.
It's just not. But I think that's where I personally don't feel like you can have true accountability without vulnerability.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can tell another sister in Christ of something you're struggling with, but until you fully cross into that transparency, they're not going to know to the depths you're struggling.
Yeah.
And so I think if we're all expected to hold each other accountable in community, you have to be willing to pull the wall down and show what you're needing the community for.
Right. And if you're trying to be accountable to just yourself, you're always going to fail.
Right.
You need to be accountable to your partner.
Yeah.
You need to bring your partner into that accountability structure and rely on that other person of divulging the issues that you're having and tell them what you're struggling with, tell them what you need. And again, it's just that communication.
Everyday struggle, but I mean,
Absolutely.
we personally are.
It's the easiest way to cause strife in a relationship is not by communicating.
Right.
Yeah.
I think overall, the number one issue in probably 99% of relationships
Communication.
is communication.
1,000%.
So we're going to talk about some practical adjustments that we can make in modern life. Starting with finances.
Starting with finances, what can we do to build a more biblical marriage in the financial aspect?
First thing you can do is tithe.
I was gonna say, the soapbox island to
First
get
thing
on.
you can do is
First and foremost.
Yeah.
Yes,
And you guys are a testament to that.
Yeah.
We've seen the results of that. Sure.
Hey, God math does not math.
God math beats girl math every time.
Yeah.
Does it?
Every time.
Every time. Yeah.
Tithing and
You have
learning to do
20%
it
discounts. That means
joyfully.
free.
Doing it joyfully.
Oh, yeah.
Doing it before you pay any of your other bills. Doing it consistently, even when it's tough.
Especially
When it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Mhm.
and then behind that is, again, having the conversations with your spouse about what you're spending
Right.
on and what you need to save for.
$4 here, the $2 there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In every relationship, there's going to be that spender, there's going to be that saver.
Yep.
And
Talked about that.
those two are going to be at loggerheads all the time.
Oh, that's our life right there. That's a good comment. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Should I lock my cat in the room?
No, it's all.
Cat.
This is real life right here.
Ah.
Like, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, it's important to have those conversations to realize what you're spending your money on, what your goals are,
Right.
where you're trying to go. Come in as a joint venture, as you two are a team in this relationship. You are a team in finances. It's not your money. It's not my money. It's our money. It's our marriage.
Tithing, budget,
Spending.
joint bank account, so that way you know where every penny's going.
Yeah, exactly.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
And then even to debt management.
Right.
If you had a credit card that was over the limit or at the limit or whatever it is, car loans, student loans, stuff like that, those aren't your bills. Those are our bills. We need to manage those together.
Yeah.
We need to come up with a plan to take care of them together.
Yes.
And it is very important to have this conversation because the last thing that can cause so much anxiety, debt causes so much anxiety. You need your partner to be able to share that.
You can't hide it. Like, we've got to be open and honest about it.
Yeah.
And I think the partner who is the saver and the one that's less likely in those situations needs to enter these discussions with grace
Right.
and meet the person with humility.
Absolutely. You don't want to come at them and start yelling, "Hey, what are you doing? Like, why do you have this? And how could you do this? Why did you do this?" No, you need to come at them and say something like, "All right, I see that you've got this debt. Let's come up with a strategy to get it paid down. We're going to come at it together. We're going to get this taken care of."
Exactly.
Hey friends, do you want to dive deeper with us? If this episode sparks something in you, please reach out. We'd love to connect. Click the link below to our site, Buy Me a Coffee. Check out our different membership levels, exclusive posts, and free downloads. We will also be posting merch in the near future, so connect now so you don't miss out on those updates. Plus, make sure to check out our free guide on building a rock-solid communication in your marriage listed in the description below.
All right. So next up, right behind finances, parenting. We are all parents in this room.
Yep.
Take it away.
How can we live a more biblical marriage when it comes to parenting?
I think, and I don't think this is where you guys are going with this, but I do want to throw it out there, is I think a lot of the time in marriage, especially in our season of life with such young children, it's very easy to lose sight of that hierarchy of your spouse being a priority over your children. And it's another one of those really hard pills for people to swallow. And I think before you can start to tackle difficulties in parenting and making sure you're on the same page and coming up with the do's and the don'ts and how you want to raise your family, you have to make sure that this is always a priority. In the good seasons and the bad seasons, this is a priority. Because if this isn't strong and functioning, nothing else is going. It's that foundation, right?
Yeah, and I think it's also important to recognize that the first part of the relationship is our relationship.
Right. Yes.
We're focused on God that makes our relationship better.
Right.
And to live as an example of that in front of our
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. And then you'll be raising them with the appropriate values. At that point, you'd be raising them in church. You'd be raising them with this understanding of who their Savior is, what He did for them, and how to live for Him.
Right. And if you teach your children in the ways that they'll never depart from it again. So
They may veer off for a second.
yeah, but they'll come back around. Like all of us.
Detours.
Right.
Just a detour.
Well, and planting those roots early on.
Yeah. Getting them involved at church, getting them involved in Sunday school, making it fun, but
Bible camp, stuff like that. So
And I'll say, as a parent, like my best moments so far are those ones that catch me off guard with the kids, where they just say something or sing something
we
that it's
carried
like,
out the cross is the final word, belting.
yeah, it's like
in the middle of
they're
the
absorbing.
car.
Yeah, they're absorbing everything, or they're picking up on all just how much we've woven our faith into our life, and it'll come out of left field, and it's just such a, like, it's almost like God is handing down like a gold star, you know? And it's just really cool. And what he's talking about, like we said earlier, we listen to worship music all the time, and I don't even always know that they're paying attention to the song. And then one day, a couple months ago, from the back seat, Daxton just starts screaming, "The cross has the final word."
Like, wow.
I mean, and now the whole, like,
You're driving around, it's like, and you're like, what is that?
but it's just random stuff. Or like around Easter, and I said something about Easter, and he was like, "And Easter, Jesus died on the cross for my sin." Like, and it's just when they say those things that you're not expecting a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old to say.
Him praying over adult leaders.
Yeah, he did that this week. That was really cool. But I think, like, as parents, we sometimes will get so legalistic about it, or at least I will, because I carry that burden of my kids' salvation.
Yeah.
And so I get so worried of, like, okay, I want to make sure I'm raising them the right way and teaching them the right things, but not turning them off into where they're going to jump ship and all the things. And then these sweet moments will come, and they're just the reminder of, like, they listen to everything. So remember that, but also, like, look at what they're picking up.
Right.
It makes you feel as a parent like I'm doing something right here.
Right.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so next up is time management and prioritizing marriage and family amidst our busy schedules.
Yeah.
I think we can all be
And admitting fault right now, we do not do that.
Yeah.
There is a lot of us.
right.
Us, like you and I.
Yeah.
That you too.
Yes.
We have a lot of family time.
Tons of family time, but we do not have any date nights. We don't have any personal time. Even when we're done with kids, bedtime, routine, they're asleep, we veg out separately.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no,
Yeah.
give me 10 minutes, 15 minutes of your time, which we try to do, but it's just,
It's difficult, and it's easy to get into a rut.
Yeah.
Like once you stop doing something, it's so easy to just keep not doing it. It takes 60 days to set a habit. So just like if you want to start going to the gym every day, you got to stick with it for weeks and days and weeks and going no matter what. And then eventually it becomes a little bit easier. The same thing holds true with dating your spouse.
Yeah.
Because just because you're married doesn't mean you stop dating.
Yeah.
You need to have that one-on-one time where it's just you and I, where it's just you and you, because that's where your relationship grows. You can have those meaningful conversations, but you can have fun together.
Yeah.
And that's the most important part.
You have to, and it's got to be a priority for you.
Yeah. And that's where it's important to lean on your friends that you have and pawn your kids off.
So was that an offer?
Yeah, Alyssa will totally.
it's like, yeah, my wife will watch your children. I will play video games.
I will delegate that task. No. Yes, absolutely. It's important to make time for your partner and make sure that you are fulfilling that need and fulfilling that time, and take a night out on the town.
Yeah, I think of what our biggest struggle is, and when we're trying to overcome that is, we function better as a couple
Yeah.
with couples.
Right.
Like we just do, and it's a weird concept to think.
And I think the reason why that is because you don't spend enough time where it's just you two. You have to sharpen that skill.
You looking at me like that?
You have to like me if you're gonna love me.
Yeah. Well,
Thank you.
it's just like anything. Like if you wanted to start playing basketball, if you only do it once a year, you're never going to get good at it.
Right.
Yeah.
You got to do it a lot.
Yeah.
And
Do it. You have to do it when you don't want to do it.
you have to do it when you don't.
Right. And us rushing into marriage, rushing into our relationship so fast. I mean, that didn't help
Yeah.
Sure.
for us to get to know each other.
Well, and also looking at society as a whole, you don't see a lot of that in what's out there in social media or in movies or in TV shows. You don't see
You mean that's the traditional aspect of
you don't see the husband and wife,
Bonding.
the bonding, right? Not necessarily.
You see more trauma bonding than
You see
actual.
a lot.
yeah.
And we trauma bonded.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, trauma bonded.
But you don't necessarily see the mom and dad going out for date night and having a good night. There's always some hijinks that goes on, something that interrupts.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's never just a nice night.
It's like that movie where they go on a
Because that
date,
wouldn't
turns into like a scavenger hunt, but then it becomes a real life crime scene. I'm like, what is going on? That was supposed to be a date night. This is real.
And it doesn't even have to be us like going out of town. Like, how many times do you and I like just sitting in bed together, reading a book together,
right. Sitting out on the back
patio, having a drink,
or yeah, you just light a fire in the backyard and sit there and
talking
yeah,
about
of course can't do that now because it's like 10
We do that a lot in the other house.
Yeah, it is,
Summertime.
Sometimes.
and it's cheap entertainment because when don't you have something?
So make it a priority for the new house. Like, we're gonna do this in the new house.
Well, not the setup for something like that.
Make it
So stoked.
make it a routine to where it's scheduled time.
Yeah,
Put
it's
it on the
calendar.
calendar.
Put it on a calendar.
Color code it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love color coding the calendar.
Well, okay, speaking of calendars, though, I just think I talked about this again on Wednesday, too, and I just feel like it's worth repeating is when you get so busy that if somebody says, "How are you?" and your answer is, "We're busy,"
Yeah.
you're probably so busy that you're about to be attacked. And
Right.
the enemy attacks you when you're head down, working through your schedule, the calendar, you're go, 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 go. And so you need to keep your face fixed up, but also keep your shoulders connected. Like make sure this is connected and in step, even if you're going a million directions, that this is secure in that.
Right.
Because the very first thing the enemy wants to attack and break down is the marriage. Because if the marriage is broken, the family is not far behind.
I think just like our pastor always says. I mean, literally, if this is not good,
Then
then
this
this is not going to be good.
And this will never get better.
Right. Exactly. All right. And so let's go on to some blessings and encouragement. What we got to say here. The fruit of a biblical marriage. What are some positive aspects?
Definitely deeper intimacy and connection.
Yeah.
It's going to be childish right there.
That's all right. I mean, no, it's
But it's so true.
it's very true. I think if you aren't open and honest with your partner, you're not going to have an intimate connection that you could have with that partner. You can have intimacy, but it won't be real intimacy.
Right.
Especially if you're still consuming that outside sexual content.
Yeah, the sinful
Looking at
natures that you've
media,
been trying to
yeah.
get over and stuff like that.
And then you bring that into the bedroom.
Right.
You're never gonna really feel that deeper.
Yeah, your focus and mentality are somewhere different. So it's not allowing you to fully achieve what you need here.
Well, and you realize that in those intimate times, it's not about me. It's about pleasing your partner, and that's really what it's about. And you get deeper fulfillment from that than you do from yourself. So it's really important.
That's wise words from me.
So I think it also brings about a greater sense of joy and peace in your relationship. Anxiety seems to really fall away when you're relying fully on him and open and honest with each other.
Yeah.
Well, you said it yourself. Your anxiety.
I was just told Taylor that the other day. I mean, since we've been tithing, my anxiety is non-existent, and it's amazing because I used to be anxious all the time.
And since I've taken over the finances,
That's been amazing.
I was gonna say, since Taylor started tithing, and then for like months would be like, "You want to know how much I tithe?" And I'm like, "No." No.
I mean, that can be applied in so many ways. Once you start walking the way God intended you to, of course, things feel better because that's what it's supposed to be. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean life in general gets easier,
Yeah.
but you have less anxiety,
Right.
less fear, less
Well, you know, who's
discontentment.
taking care of it.
Yes.
You don't have to worry about it. That burden is gone.
Yeah, and
Right.
for whatever reason, we
Don't
enter
worry about tomorrow.
right. We enter these situations thinking like, "Oh, I know better." Like, "Oh, well, society actually says this way. That's
mean,
outdated." But no, he designed everything to work for such a perfect purpose and a perfect reason. And once we stop questioning that and we just fall in line, it's crazy.
I mean, it
what
literally
will
says in
happen.
the Bible, "Lay your burdens at His feet."
Yes. Drop your nets and follow me.
That's not
doesn't
what I was
mean
talking about.
Stop
but
working your jobs. You still gotta go.
No, yeah, but
yeah,
drop
still gotta go to work.
unless he's telling you
Just
not
making
to.
sure you two realize that we become famous YouTube stars over here.
This is work.
Yes.
Yeah. And then it also allows for resilience in your trials because,
Yeah.
like you were saying, who's going to take care of you? When you're not living a biblical marriage, it's just me. You know, I've got to take care of me. I've got to take care of the family. I got to take care of you. And what if I lose my job? What if I get sick? What if I get hurt?
Right.
All of those things disappear when you're following Christ and when you're relying on Him. Not because those things won't happen to you, but because you know in the end, God's going to take care of you.
He's helping carry the burden.
Yeah. The next thing about living a biblical marriage is that we're a powerful testimony to the world and what it is to live like Christ and to live in Him. They can see our relationship and wonder why are we as happy? What's different about us?
What's wrong with you guys?
What's wrong with you? Yeah, what is different? But that's
That's the way I've never seen it.
yeah. Well, there's definitely a light that shines on you, and people that have known you a long time will know that know that you've struggled with things in the past, and suddenly you're not so anxious anymore,
Right.
and you're not as worried as you used to be, and you're not talking the same way you used to be. Why is that? What's going on with you? Friends, close friends, will realize those things in your life and start to question those things, and that's an amazing opportunity you have to share the gospel with them and to share what's been going on.
I mean, yeah, living it out biblically, showing by actions versus words, it changes a lot of people's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really allows for a bunch of spiritual growth between you, between me, between those around us.
Yeah. It brings attention to maybe a skeptic or somebody who's on the fence. Like,
Yeah.
it's a great way to, they notice those things are shifting and changing, and it's a great way to spark that conversation.
Yeah. Or just you're planting a seed that you have no idea that you could be planting that could, forever change somebody's life that you come in contact with just by your actions of following the Bible. What was it, Galatians 5:20 is that fruit of the Spirit and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Peace, love, joy, kindness, goodness, faithfulness.
It is love, joy. Nobody? All right, I'll finish.
Church kids.
You weren't singing that loud enough for.
The mic stick up.
That's
good.
not going to do it.
Yeah, let's run that back. She's gonna sing this.
Y'all put earplugs in.
But also living in God's will, you're going to see His blessings in your life.
Right.
You're going to see His favor. You're going to see the results of living in Him. And like we were talking about tithing, it's the only time He tells us to challenge Him in the Bible and see what He does for you, because He does come.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you, math, it does not add up.
Yeah, like we're saying. And that's not the only time. It's not just financial.
Right.
It's every aspect of your life. There are doors that open. There's things that happen when you're living in His will.
A shift in a job,
doors
literally
open that
anything.
you have no idea you needed them to open.
Right.
I mean, He's gonna put the path where He wants you to be, whether you want to be there or not.
Yeah.
Like this is the road I'm gonna put you down because you're following my word.
Right.
And conviction could be something big, like a lot of the things we've talked about, just because it's easy to point out. But conviction can also be something really little, or your next step could be something really small that it's easy to just kind of Yeah.
I mean,
brush it to the side and be like, "Yeah, that's not God." But He works in all the little
prime
things too.
example. I mean, I tend to overreact and raise my voice a lot more than I probably should to my children. But when your 3-year-old's looking at you like, you need to stop yelling, and I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Like that's a little thing, but
It's conviction.
it's conviction.
Yeah.
You want to believe it or not.
It's the soft voices. That you hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you yelling?
You didn't answer me the first time.
I said brush your teeth.
I'm speaking in okay.
I'm not yelling. I'm speaking in okay. I get those emails all the time. I'm just old. I love speaking in okay.
So with all that we've talked about, though, I think we've got to talk about the acknowledgement of setbacks. And that we've said it multiple times. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have missteps. Things are going to go wrong for us because that is just part of it.
Yeah.
But that's also because you are following the right path.
Yeah.
That says, my wife says all the time, you're going to be attacked. Our pastor,
fair.
you're going to be attacked. Be prepared. It's going to happen because you're doing the right thing with the right person on the right direction that God path was giving you.
And don't let that stop you. When you make a mistake, give yourself the grace.
Immediately apologize. Immediately
Apologize. Immediately make the correction.
Yeah.
I mean, if you misstep, if you sin, if you step aside, whatever it is, forgiveness is there. Forgiveness is there with him. Forgiveness is there with you.
Yeah.
Forgiveness is there with me. So it's when you're Christ-like, forgiveness is all about it, right? So you've got to have that forgiveness for your spouse of, okay, you made a mistake. I forgive you for it. Let's move on. Let's see what we can do about it.
My
You
wife's
have
got
to-
a truckload of forgiveness.
But you also have to be
Speak up.
willing to confess.
Yeah.
And not be discovered, right? Like
Yes.
acknowledge your own misstep, confess,
For real.
accept the grace,
Yep.
and then work together, like you said earlier, work together on an improvement plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Trust God for that transformation. Just take those small steps, those things, the easy things that you can start with. Start with 5 minutes reading the Bible.
Right.
In the morning.
Start with all you need.
Start with one prayer, a couple minutes in the morning. Start praying together as a couple.
Loud.
Out loud.
The enemy can
Yes.
hear it.
Terrible at this.
Yes.
Terrible.
Talking out loud.
Finding resources, books, podcasts.
But aside from that, in the relationship, talking with each other, you need to talk. You got to start that conversation, even if it's just about how your day went. But if it's a conversation starter, if you are having that trouble where you just don't communicate, you need to set aside some time, make it a priority, make it scheduled that every night, 8 o'clock after we put the kids down, we're going to have
Our one-on-one.
some one-on-one time where we're going to talk together.
Yeah.
And
We're going to talk and we're going to pray together.
Yeah. If it's finances, spend the time to set up a budget. Write down everything where the money is going and talk about that. What can we do here?
Where can we save?
Where can we save? Just even realizing what it is.
Parenting disagreements. Sit down and
Parenting
get on the same page.
Page. Lay out the roles.
Right.
If you're always arguing about, I thought you were going to do this. I thought you were taking out the trash. I thought you were doing the laundry. I thought you were washing the kids. Sit down and have the discussion.
Unspoken expectations will slowly kill your marriage.
Absolutely. So it's those little things, all about communication, of sitting down and discussing.
Death by 1,000.
Getting
Well,
on the
and that's where the enemy kind of comes in and attacks you, and you guys are not on the same page.
Right, and if you're not discussing it, you build up that resentment, the hatred,
In that valley
and
between
then
you.
slow
A
driving
few
that
years
wedge.
ago, that was a big blow up.
Right, absolutely, and I've been there too. And I know that I tend to not say things that irritate me, and that's not right. I need to be open about those things so that.
Tell me, then how
We're not mind readers, okay?
I thought you couldn't.
All right. So to recap the last 2 episodes, we've discussed the downfalls of a secular marriage and how moving into a more biblical marriage will bring you closer together, bring you closer to God, And we've talked about practical ways that you could start this journey in your daily lives and given you resources to further grow your relationship with Christ and each other.
If you loved this episode, share the inspiration. If today's shows resonated with you, share it with a friend.
Want to be the first to know what's next for us? Click the link below to connect on Buy Me a Coffee. And if you have any prayer requests, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be honored to pray for you.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we cannot wait to see you next week. Thank you so much for being here.
Colin and Taylor, thank you so much for being here in this vital discussion. I'm so glad we got to dive in deep and
Really talk
Really
about
talk
it.
We're very honored that you guys thought about us.
We hope you'll have us back.
Oh, we'd love for you to come back.
So
I think it's been a great discussion. It's been a lot to talk about, a lot to digest, and I think we both learned some things
Yeah.
that we can do differently.
Takeaways.
Yeah. And we just want you to know that we love you very much. And we really do appreciate our weekly group.
y'all come back now, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
We enjoy our weekly conversations with you guys and having that. I can't encourage you enough to find those friends, find that group that really
It
aligns.
really is. It's that small group.
Yeah.
That, as you say, the small, tight-knit people that know your intimate details.
Yeah,
The difference.
Without that group, we wouldn't be here where we're at today.
truly. Yeah. All right. Well, we hope that you come back next time for a special episode about COVID babies, having kids in the middle of a pandemic.
And have some little helpers come on the show next week, so stay tuned.
We'll see you next week.
All right, thank you, everybody.